It's now 5:17. Give me one moment to start the recording.
My mic on. Good evening. We are here to call to order the Site Plan and Architectural Review Committee for December 10th, 2025. Jessica, if we can get a roll call.
Member Whale?
Here.
Member Hamilton?
Here.
Chair Rosado?
Here.
Vice Chair Donaldson?
Here.
And Member Dickens is not present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. And I see we have some minutes from June 11th that we need to have a motion for the minutes.
Well, go ahead. I have a correction.
Yep.
On the minutes, it says motion vote, Planning Commission, probably should say Spark, on page 1.
Good catch.
I do read.
And I have another one as well. Under
Okay.
call to order, it lists Vice Chair Rosado, probably should be Chair Rosado. Don't want to short.
See what we're saying, Jessica?
I will make those corrections.
With those corrections, I'll make a motion.
Second.
We've got a second motion. Do a call for vote.
Member Whale?
Yes.
Member Hamilton?
Yes.
Chair Rosado?
Yes.
Vice Chair Donaldson?
Yes.
Passes 4-0.
Thank you. Then we're going to open up for comments to the public. This is for comments for any non-agenda items. Tonight we only have a single agenda item, so if anyone is in our audience that would like to speak to an item that is not on the agenda, now is your time. And seeing none, we'll close that. Is there anyone, are we doing online, Jessica or Cynthia?
We do not have anyone logged into Zoom
Okay.
for a public comment.
All right, so then we will proceed to review the items. I'll turn it over to staff to do the presentation.
Give me one moment here and get the PowerPoint going. All righty, we have one item tonight. It's a little bit different than we typically have. These are a request to authorize conditions of approval for a project that was approved back in 2021 for 620 South Central Avenue. It's a 2-story, 12-unit apartment project, and I'll move forward with the presentation here. So the project was approved in September of 2021. It was 2 stories, 12 units on the corner of 620 South Central. The site is zoned MCO, or mixed-use corridor. It was originally approved as consistent with the MCO zone, and it remains consistent with the MCO zone. As part of the 2021 action, Spark's conditions of approval that include a requirement that the project be developed as affordable housing. This would not typically be included in a condition with the Spark packet, but it was at the time because the proponent of the project was proposing it to be affordable, so it was included as a condition. There were a couple of other related items tied to that condition. One was exemptions to parking, and the other was for a setback. The current applicant, that project didn't work out, or the applicant didn't work out. They sold the property along with the plans. Building permits were already in process, and those permits have been finalized and updated per the current code. So the current applicant who has purchased this project as a whole package couldn't find that they could pencil out the project as affordable, and requested that the condition be removed to make the project market rate so they could make it pencil out and get the project built. There are no other changes proposed to this approved project. The project itself remains wholly the same. The building permits were processed through multiple rounds of comments over the last few years. They were updated per the current code and approved last week, is my understanding. So the current applicant is Haggerty 8 Enterprises LLC, and again, they're requesting to revise the 2021 condition of approval to remove the requirement that it's an affordable housing project. The project will be constructed as market rate housing due to current market conditions and financing constraints. All other aspects, as I mentioned, remain the same. The site layout, building height, design, materials, access, overall development program, everything's unchanged. And again, the building permits have been issued last week. So when Spark approved this project in 2021, the staff report and the staff analysis, at the time we had consultants that were essentially running the planning division of the city. We did not have full-time planners at the time. And those were the staff that included references to parking reductions that were tied to the affordable condition, and also side setback deviation, which allowed for an additional 1 foot. At the time, those items were tied to the affordable project condition, so we must reaffirm those 2 other items today. So with that 2021 approval, since then, for parking, concerning the parking deviation, Assembly Bill 2097 has since been adopted, which eliminates minimum off-street parking requirements for residential projects and a half mile of a major transit stop or along high-quality transit corridors. So this project today qualifies under AB 2097. So the earlier parking reduction, which was tied to that affordability condition, is now moot. So we're just stating that so that the public, and you know that even if they had the condition for affordability removed, the parking is effectively no longer an issue because it would be allowed today, the deviation or reduction in parking. In addition, there was a reduction to the required 10-foot side setback. The only reason that this is coming up before Spark, it was originally tied to that affordability condition. This is something that would typically be approvable and at the discretion of the community development director. But because it was in that original condition of approval, we need to restate and reaffirm that this will be honored with this new condition being removed, with this updated condition being revised. That 1 foot setback we feel remains appropriate. It's an infill site. The neighboring commercial has 0 setbacks. They're built at the lot line at the sidewalk. So, and this would be just an additional 1 foot setback that we would like to reaffirm. So this would be no new discretionary design review or expansion of the original approval. It was just tied to that affordability clause in the conditions. So we're asking it to be untied to that condition and reaffirmed today. So again, we're not asking Spark to review the project again. This is more of a technicality as to why we're here. All of the circulation, landscaping, and everything was reviewed and approved in 2021. This is just cleaning up those conditions for the affordability requirement and acknowledging AB 2097. The project remains consistent with the general plan and zoning designations of MCO, which allows absolutely this 12-unit apartment building. It fits the context of the corridor. To remove this condition, staff supports it because it was not, and we feel that Spark should support this removal of the condition. It was not fundamental to the design or site planning findings. Since approval, conditions have changed. The costs of construction have changed. Markets have changed. So we feel that it would be appropriate for the current owner to proceed as a market rate project. Given that they've already been through multiple rounds of plan check, and that this will also deliver 12 new housing units, which are much needed in the city of Lodi, we feel it's appropriate to remove the affordability condition and allow the project to proceed. And we feel this also supports our housing element RHNA obligations, which are our regional housing needs allocation. So since it's an already approved infill project, allowing it to proceed would be preferable to leaving the lot vacant for the foreseeable future. The project under CEQA would remain exempt under 15332. We're just restating that it was found to be exempt initially and it remains exempt. And we would suggest a motion. We are available, staff is available for comment. The applicant is here available if you have any questions of him. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Cynthia. I think our dais has some questions, so I'll just start to my right.
A few.
If you, go for it.
Under the general umbrella of how did we get here? I understand nobody was here. None of these members were here previously. And the only reason I want to dig in this a little bit is how do we ensure this does not happen again? Other than people just need to be smart and do the right thing, right? That I want to understand from a systemic standpoint how we avoid this condition. 2021 was a long time ago, right? So the repercussions of this minor decision seem to be relatively large for the original owner and for the new owner. My understanding is this could not be a request. This could not be imposed on anybody today or in the past. Is that true?
Correct in that we cannot force a developer to develop affordable housing or restrict the rents in them. We do not have an inclusionary ordinance in Lodi. This was a condition at the time, I surmise, because I wasn't here back then either, that the applicant at the time proposed this, and the consultant who handled the staff report included it as a condition. I'm not sure why, but it was included as a condition because the applicant was proposing it, and they just reaffirmed it as a condition, is my understanding. John may have more information.
That's all true. The one difference is they worked with the city building department over the course of about a year. They kept their permits alive, they kept the review going, so the permit never fell into a complete default state. What we did as a city is we also determined that the code change would affect this, so we had asked the applicant to revise the documents to bring them into current compliance with the new code. So they have done that, resubmitted, and have that approved. If there was no action, if we heard nothing for a series of 18 months, the application would have been considered void. But there was ongoing communications, an attempt to get this done, many attempts to get it partnered with our housing authority and several other groups. So it was still alive regarding its paperwork and its process.
Including the conversation about this does not have to be affordable housing.
That's correct. At the time, again, affordability is an elective issue.
Right.
It's not a
That's why
requirement.
this is my biggest concern. It does not appear, from what I see here, that it was optional. It appears, from what we're reading here, that it was mandated.
I will state this, that this does not fall under Spark's purview anyway in terms of a land use. So as Cindy was saying, the original planners that were here wrote it in as a condition of approval. Should not have been written in as a condition of approval, period. It wasn't related to the merit of the project except for some of the exemptions. And so that's why it had to be stated as affordable to qualify for those previous exemptions allowed under the law. So that was the motivation. The developer actually does affordable housing projects. This particular one just never penciled as they were trying to move forward. It was during, if we recall, we had a pretty good spike in interest rates, roughly around 22 to 23, which then put a kibosh on the affordability side of it. But it still kept going, still kept moving forward, trying to find a way to get it accomplished. We now have an ability to get it accomplished. So from a housing perspective, not an affordable housing perspective, but from a housing perspective, we're very much in favor of it.
Okay, so I think I feel better on what you just said. I'd like to repeat back to you what I think I heard, which
Okay.
was the owner decided that they wanted to do an affordable housing project so that they could get the setback and the parking conditions, and that's why it was conditioned?
They wanted to do affordability because they build affordable housing.
I don't understand why it would have been a condition for approval if that's the case.
Should not have been, that was my mention, should not have been listed as a condition for Spark to review.
And the owner believed that he had to keep it affordable housing, or no?
No, as it turned out, the option was to not go forward with the project, but to move forward with its approval he found an individual who was capable of taking on the project and moving it forward. Again, there were several attempts at that at an affordable rate, but even the Housing Authority just said the scale of the project is too finite for that to actually work. So they backed off, sold the property, came in with an affordable opportunity, which converted to a market rate opportunity. So it didn't change the inherent nature of the project, just the qualification side on the affordability.
Okay. I think I'm gonna let it go. Second question. Do we normally issue permits before we get Spark approval?
This actually had Spark approval. And so it was, because it was fundamentally the exact same project, and we had made it a condition for them to move forward to get the approval process underway, it just took more time to get Spark. If you had to make a design decision, you would have been hearing it before anything would have been issued. But there were no design considerations or alterations suggested by this application.
By the way, I'm happy that you've approved the permits. It just seems like we were a little bit backwards in that we're current in the process of fixing a problem, and we issue permits before we fix this problem. But
Again, it's a semantic at this point. It isn't project specific. It's just use specific, which is a land parameter, which, technically isn't even under Spark's authority to review.
Right.
It's just the nature of where we were with the previous staff report. We had discussions about, can we just waive that issue and not worry about it, but it was elected to bring it forward to make it public.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. Mr. Donaldson, questions?
Just a couple of comments. I acknowledge what Member Hamilton said. I'm just not going to go there relative to the affordable housing discussion because it's not within our purview. But I will agree with staff's recommendation that the deviations relative to parking and the setbacks are consistent with current legislation, and I agree with that, as well as the idea of reducing the setback relative to its location within the district. So I agree with staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Member Donaldson. Member Wool?
No, I have no questions.
No comments. I tend to agree with my committee members here, so I appreciate you guys doing the good work and getting this corrected. I think moving forward, it'd be really good for legal counsel to keep us on a leash if we get out of line. As Member Hamilton said, none of us were present on this committee at that time, but I'm happy that this is getting resolved now. Now we will open for public comment. I do see a hand raised, so I will open it for public comment. So you're welcome to approach the dais, and you could state your name and you can ask questions to us.
I need to talk about the project on Central. On the 21, we get a lot of signers, a lot of people coming here because the project is in front of our houses, and the street have a lot of problem for parking, a lot of problem for drug dealer, and a lot of problem for homeless. Further houses, what is going to bring to that little space? 12 spaces? That's not enough space to do 12 apartments, and don't going to have enough parking lot. And the 21, that's why they stopped that project, because the community came to talk about, we don't want the project in there. Was a lot of problems already there, and it's better now, but no, it's not the best we can. So that's why I'm here. I'm sorry, my English, I don't understand too much English and I don't speak well. But I'm here for, I don't be agreed, and the people around there don't be agreed. We don't need that kind of project in the corner. I don't know if the seen the owner, the Johnny Cow. I don't know if he sold the project. I don't know what happened. But that happened on the 21. We don't be agreed to have that kind of project in front of my house. That's why I came this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Can I please have you state your name for the record?
Oh, excuse me, ma'am.
Jennifer, Jessica?
Ma'am?
Can we get your name? Thank you so much.
you.
Sorry, Jessica, I'll ask in the future. If there's any other members of the public that would like to approach the dais or ask any questions for the project, you're welcome to do so now. Seeing none. Oh. Yeah.
I will give you guys a little bit of a context to this project, so I'm very familiar. So yeah, originally the residents and me, I was not in favor of this project because of the affordability, because how you pointed out, Commissioner, that how are we putting people to do affordable housing if that doesn't make sense for them? How are we making that condition? So that's why we are here to remove what we did before there, because what the residents didn't want was affordable housing in that area, in the specific lot, and I didn't want it because I see how that was going to bring more traffic, more congestion to that area, and that's the reason why I ran for city council in the first place, because I saw how the city and the council were not listening to the concerns of the citizens. So in a close-up loop, it's good that now we found a new developer that is willing to do what the residents want. And yes, there's going to be problems with traffic, with parking, but at the same time, it's better that it's developed than it's an empty lot. It attracts homeless people. I have to call the police a couple times a year. There is fires. I call the fire department. So it's good that it's developed, and yeah, we will deal with those problems and we'll go forward. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. You good? All right. Seeing. I know. It's the
We know
Mr.
who
Mayor.
I know his name.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll close the public comment, and if there's any other questions from our committee members to staff, otherwise we will ask for a motion.
Can we actually bring
Yeah.
the motion up? There
You good?
Sure, I can read.
Yep, go ahead.
I move that the Site Plan and Architectural Review Committee approve the revised conditions of approval for Site Plan and Architectural Review Application Number PL 2021-007 to remove the prior affordability requirement, reaffirm the previously approved street side setback deviation appropriate for this infill site, and acknowledge that parking minimums are no longer applicable pursuant to AB 2097. All other conditions of approval shall remain in effect.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Member Wool. And Jessica, can we get a roll call?
Member Well,
Yes.
Member Hamilton,
Yes.
Chair Rosado,
Yes.
Vice Chair Donaldson.
Yes.
Passes 4-0.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. You've had that condition removed. Now we go to regular business, and is there anything that the dais has, that our committee members has, questions for our staff members?
Bear with me
Yes.
1 second.
We got, Member Hamilton has a question.
I think same question as I had last time. Do we have a vacancy in this seat?
I was going to ask that question.
We are going to investigate that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Very quickly, we do not have another meeting until January 14th. We will be having a affordable housing, or excuse me, a senior housing project, not affordable, excuse me, brought to you that evening. And we did hear from membership about trying to get applications reviewed as soon as possible. Depending upon what's happening, the availability of getting things out publicly noticed and the rest, sometimes we get behind a bit. So as soon as we do release them, you get them. But we'll try and see what we can do about making arrangements to see as soon as we have that packet drafted to where we've approved it from legal and internal, and we can find a way to get that to you a little bit earlier to give you a little more time to review and have comment.
Yeah, that'd be great, especially with the larger projects, if we had an extra few days, because the 7-week turnaround with a weekend in between gets to be pretty tough for, at least it does for me. Any other questions? Oh, Cynthia's got one.
One more item. We have 2 new assistant planners who have joined our planning team in the last few months. And I'd like to ask them to come up and introduce themselves so you can meet them. And I like to embarrass them.
Excellent. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm Eva. I'm the new assistant planner in community development. I've been very fortunate to be able to be raised throughout the Central Valley and now take my works here to Lodi. So it's nice seeing everyone and meeting everyone as well.
Thank you, welcome.
Hi, I'm Rajni Johal, Assistant Planner in Community Development. I've lived in the Central Valley my whole life. I grew up in Ceres, and then my family moved to Manteca, and I worked for the county for, sorry, I'm a little nervous. I haven't come up here before. Thanks, Cindy.
Doing great.
Yeah, so I worked at the county for about a year until I got this wonderful position. It's nice to meet you all.
Thank you so much, Raji and Eva. Yeah, welcome. I think you'll find yourself amongst a very talented group of folks here at the city.
And we're happy you're here. Cindy needs a lot of help.
Yes, we're very happy, very, very happy that they joined us. Planning has needed some help for quite a while, so we worked really hard to get positions added, and now we have them. So we're going to hold on to them as tightly as we can.
Perfect. Are there any other, you have a non-agenda? Okay. We have another item?
I hate to bring this up, but where we at with Sunset?
That's the January.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's your January meeting.
That's
That's a senior housing? Okay.
Yep,
Thank you.
yep, that's, it will be coming to Spark January 14th.
Great, thank you.
I'm actually going to follow up with that. Can you reiterate our role when it comes to any historic preservation?
We have hired a consultant to prepare environmental review under CEQA, and that will be part of your package. We have actually hired two consultants, one to prepare a phase one and an architectural historian who is writing an opinion letter based on that phase one and their own further investigation as to the status, the historic status.
Okay.
And that will be, there will be a recommendation in your packet to that end. We don't anticipate receiving that final letter until next week, so I don't want to state what the finding will be, but that will be part of the package.
So are we to form our own opinions based on the information in the packet? Essentially, what I'm getting at is there's no cultural heritage board like other cities may have, where they take the recommendation of the board and that moves through the process, through the different commissions to final approval. So how's that work?
It would be like any other CEQA finding, so whether it's historic, biological, noise, traffic, you evaluate the facts based on the evidence proposed, and we have hired two consultants. The one who's writing the opinion letter is an architectural historian who is specific to California and has a master's degree in historic architecture and is certified for California. So they are one of the top experts in their field in the state. So we feel that we are justified in relying on their opinion. And that's generally what we do no matter what the topic is under CEQA. And so once we get that final letter from them, opinion letter from them, it will cite facts, photos, documents, and evidence to make that opinion.
Thank you. You got a follow-up?
I do. I know that we now can invoke historic building code, but I don't think we have the keys to that car, meaning listings, right? So I know that the Sunset Theater is listed at the state level, but just on a technicality. I'm curious as to where we stand in terms of getting a local historic listing in place so that we could actually clearly state this is a historic address and we're going to use historic building code.
Yes. John just mentioned, remind them, we're working on it. We are working on drafting an ordinance. We're looking at other jurisdictions and neighboring jurisdictions in the valley to see how they handle that. One of the suggestions would be to use Spark as the body, similar to, for example, in Stockton, they have a cultural heritage board. So instead of forming a new board, that would be potentially one of the options, would be for Spark to also, so we wouldn't have to go through the process of forming a whole new committee, would be that Spark would handle those sorts of designations like landmarking on the local level. But stay tuned because don't put that in stone. We're working through that. One of the consultants, we're preparing to issue an RFQ to hire on-call consultants to assist our staff with some of these issues where we need additional expertise. And one of those firms that we anticipate hiring will be a firm that specializes in analysis for historic preservation and ordinances and cultural heritage ordinances. In addition to that, we did have, as part of our downtown specific plan, a high-level survey was done of all of the buildings in the downtown mixed-use zone, and those will be included in the downtown specific plan. Our anticipation is that between staff and this consultant that we are about to hire, they would help us prepare the SHPO forms for each parcel. That's a little bit more of a deep dive evaluation on each property. So stay tuned, that will be occurring in the coming months.
I have a lot more questions, but I'll actually hold them for not this forum.
I don't want to get ahead of myself a little bit, but the concept of Spark becoming a historical body, approval body, recommendation body, I mean, the theater falls under, it's right in the wheelhouse. And I'm aware of some of the research that was done when it was, previous project was being promoted, and I'm aware of that. And will that be part of what we see?
The project as it was conceived to go forward, as you also know, no longer exists in its entirety. And so the current state of the project, which had laid fallow for quite some time, the city had done some extra due diligence to try and find an alternate opportunity to complete that vision. That did not pencil out. The property was acquired for another land use purpose. And so the question was raised from the council's dais about its historic status. So the effort we've just now gone through, which has taken about 3 months to be able to get that team put together, get the work accomplished, and then realize this back in a public session. The findings are basically whatever might have been is no longer there. And in fact, many things we did research in the historic status of it, many of the components historically listed were actually modified or changed over the years almost completely. The main marquee, the main sign, illuminated neon letters were replaced with plastic letters. There was a lot of other things that we determined in looking at the history of the building in order to build an understanding of where we are with this from a historic perspective. But in this review and in this opinion letter, you'll see the findings backed with discovery, documentation to be able to make a decision to say, yep, this is historic and we must preserve it, or this is not historic and all the reasons why.
And that would fall to our decision?
Well, we go to the findings of the experts in the room, but I think that would be a presentation to you for approval on that. Spark is actually going to be considering the project, not necessarily the historic nature of the project. So because we do have a project already outlined for that site, because this was not on anyone's radar when the first concepts were being generated for that site. So you will actually see the project being proposed for that site, just along with the findings on the historic status and the review that we will have approved in the same action.
Understood. And I'm going to have a discussion with staff offline about my participation in the early stages of that project, so I'm very aware of what took place.
Right.
And so, okay, I just want to understand what's, as Chair Rosado asked the question, what Spark's role is relative to a historic decision relative to that building, whether it stays or goes, as a function of the project we're going to look at. So if that falls under our purview, then that answers my question.
You know how at the end of each project, we have a CEQA exemption suggested? It's going to be in that section. So it will be a CEQA decision. Staff will make a recommendation based on the consultant's recommendation, which is based on evidence and expertise. And then you will be able to affirm that decision or not, or suggest that motion to accept that CEQA recommendation.
But as mentioned, the whole notion of Spark and a historic review board and all those things, we still have to work that out. And we'll have conversations with the committee offline even about that as we move forward in it.
Okay.
So this will be just the initial one-off as a result of something we were requested to identify and bring it forward before we can actually bring the primary project forward.
I understand. Thank you.
Along those lines, I appreciate that you're going to involve us. I would like us to be deeply involved in those conversations. Ordinance writing, everything. I'd like to understand what kind of expertise we're bringing to the table, how this whole process is going to work. Thank you.
I agree. Thanks.
All right.
I have a question. These consulting firms, are they working with the current architect and owner to,
They were hired by the city,
okay?
and they're being paid by the city from community development. The architect the owner and architect had no clue who they were. They were hired by our department after requesting bids from a variety of firms. And the only role that the owner or architect played was opening the door for them to get into the building so they could view them in person. So it's an objective, if that's what you're asking. It's an objective analysis and opinion. They were not hired or employed by the applicant.
So what's it to say that they come back and say it becomes historical status? To say for the owner, just pull out of the project?
That's a possibility.
That's a possibility.
Correct.
Okay. I'm just trying to think if we got the horse before the cart or the cart before the horse. I'm trying to figure out which one. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. It doesn't seem like we have any more. You have one more item?
I just want a question.
Okay.
The project that we worked on, Pine Street and Washington, that cash checking,
Check cashing.
yeah, what's the status of that?
As far as we know, it's dead. We have heard, they have not resubmitted. We have not heard any responses. We gave them comments and feedback from your committee, and they have not resubmitted anything or communicated with us at all.
Is there time constraints on that project?
If a project is void for a certain period of time, it becomes void. So, for example, like the project we just discussed earlier, they continued to communicate with us and work on it and submit revisions. We went back and forth over a period of years. In this case, we've heard nothing. So I don't know off the top of my head what the ordinance states, but there's a time limit in the ordinance in which if a project applicant is unresponsive and we've requested additional details, the project will become void and they would have to reapply in the future when that time period expires.
And the good news in this case is the applicant has the conditions to address, and if they choose not to address them, we don't have an obligation to follow them through that process. It's up to them to get back to us with those.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to try to adjourn this meeting now. All right. No more open items. I will adjourn the meeting. It is 5:55. Thank you, everyone.